What's up, guys? Today we're going to be revisiting the LG V50, guys. This is such a awesome smartphone, man. This phone you can find for around $100, and a lot of you guys still have this phone, wanted me to revisit it. And yeah, this is a phone that I absolutely love as well too. So let's go ahead and get into it. One of my favorite things when I pick the LG V50 up is the display, just like the G8. These LG phones have awesome displays. LG has always made really good displays, not only with the phones but with the TVs as well too. I think the TVs are really awesome looking as well. And yeah, this phone is, no exception. It has the 1440p resolution on here. It's POLED, it's HDR10, and it is also at 6.4 inches with a very high PPI of 538. So performance-wise or display-wise on here, it is very, very nice when it comes to just colors and everything. As you can see, it's got the notch here, which actually is still smaller than an iPhone 14's notch. But yeah, so the display on here is really nice, really bright, vibrant. No issues with the display on this guy at all, actually. And I want to talk about the build quality next, because I think that's the next best thing about this phone. Let me get a wipe down for you guys. And it's a very nice phone to look at. Like I said, yesterday, the sort of the flat camera design on here I think was really futuristic looking. Like, again, this is a phone that's also very sliding and slippery, not as like slippery and slidey as a G8. This one, like the G8, you can actually spin it and it will actually spin. But this one, it doesn't, like, it's not as slippery. But yeah, so what I like about these phones is that you can type flat, right? And it doesn't wobble and stuff like that. Also with the V50, if you look down below, you do have a headphone jack with a quad DAC on this phone. You also have stereo speakers and just a really nice sleek design on here. It's IP68 dust and water resistant. We also got handy Google Assistant button on the left hand side. And yeah, I absolutely love the build quality on here. I think it still looks great. And then we have our physical fingerprint scanner on this guy as well too, which works really well. All right, so let's talk about these specs a little bit more here. I just loaded up PUBG and played a couple other games. We're at HDR Extreme. This one is still able to do a pretty good job with gaming performance. It's able to stay consistent. We do have the Snapdragon 855 on here, and then we also have micro SD card support, and then we have 128 gigs of internal storage and 106 gigs of RAM. And it does a really good job, with PUBG and just gaming in general. Really, performance in general is still very solid. It's still running fast. And like I said, I think it'll be a better bet than buying any type of budget phone or mid-range phone. I think you'll be able to play at better, more consistent frame rates here, because it's really, really smooth. It's really holding the 60 frames. So yeah, so if you are looking for a little backup phone to game on, I would definitely check out the V50. I mean, it's $100, right? So you can't really go wrong buying one if you do. But yeah, performance-wise, it's pretty good, guys. I have no complaints with it. Now, the V50 does have stereo speakers. Let's go ahead and check them out. Sound pretty good, have pretty good amount of bass. Yeah, definitely better than the G8 speakers. Remember, the G8 had the speaker under the display, or however they were doing it, and yeah, it just sounded muffled. But this one actually has a dedicated speaker, and you can actually hear it a little bit better. It's a little bit more clear. So speaker definitely much better. Like I said, you have the quad DAC on here as well too. So like I said, it still has a lot of the flagship features that you would know and love, like wireless charging and all that good stuff. So I do want to go ahead and talk about the cameras on here. All right, so the V50 does have a triple camera setup. It's a 12 megapixel standard and a 12 megapixel telephoto lens that does 2x optical zoom, and then a 16 megapixel ultra wide. It does shoot in 4K 30, And then you have an 8 megapixel selfie cam with a 5 megapixel wide cam up front too. It only shoots in 1080p 60 though. I took some shots this year with the V50, and honestly, it still took some pretty good shots outdoors. If you're in, medium to good lighting, it's give you a really good shot actually. So you guys can see these photos right here. I thought it did really good. If you take it out of any type of good lighting, the pictures will get a little soft with the front facing cam. I noticed especially that's like the first thing. But if we're just talking about the back cam, man, it took some really good shots, man. Really good color, really good depth of field, good dynamic range. Yeah, I was impressed with the cameras on here. I think they still look awesome. The 2X is pretty good on here as well too. So take a look at these photos, guys. I mean, I was pretty impressed with the image quality. Like, yeah, some of the photos, the color was a little off, so you probably would have to like image edit it a little bit. But other than that, man, detail and all that good stuff is there, man. It still takes really good pictures, in my opinion. So definitely, I would say the only place where this phone aged a little bit is definitely in low light. It just doesn't compete with the new phones in low light anymore. It just really looks soft, honestly. But everything else, man, I thought it was really good. And also remember, you have a pretty good manual mode on the V50 as well too, which I think is pretty sweet. But other than that, man, it's a really solid camera still. I think the pictures really speak for themselves, honestly. Alright, lastly, let's go ahead and talk about battery life. The V50 never had really bad battery life, and it still doesn't have bad battery life to me. This phone easily gets through 6 hours of screen on time. And again, it's not like it's a day and a half phone. If you push it, if you're playing games and taking a lot of video, yeah, you can definitely kill this in a day. But as far as battery life, it's not bad for the casual user that's not like gaming or doing intensive stuff. It's got a 4,000 milliamp battery, 18 watt charging. Dang, I fell off. 18 watt charging. Then you have wireless charging as well too. And the battery experience, like I said, is pretty good. So I really like this phone. Do I recommend getting this phone? Sure, if you really want to. Like I said, it's got the 1440p display is the only thing that it has over the LG V60. Otherwise, I would say just get a V60 because the V60 is just more powerful, and also you'll get the updates as well too. So yeah, if you do plan on getting a V50, unless you just really want it, and it is, like I said, it's like $100, $150. So you have to kind of make that decision. But the reason why I say that is because the V60 is like $200, if not cheaper now. So it just makes more sense to get that. But I do like the V50. Like I said, the 1440p display looks really nice, something that the V60 doesn't have. But other than that, man, this is a solid phone. Really, really nice. And also the 5G logo lights up. Supposed to. Yeah, there it is. I always thought that was pretty cool. I think this is one of the first 5G phones. I'm not sure if it's like the exact first, but it might be one of the first mainstream ones. So that's also pretty cool. But yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.